Grenada, its people and its possibilities. This is State of Affairs. Reporting this week, I am Tahira Natalie Carter. In this week's show, the Marketing and National Importing Board moves into high gear. A new drive puts the emphasis on farmers, produce, and new markets. Also, reversing the brain drain, Grenada is losing its best minds to the overseas market. The new government has a plan to change this. And from Beijing with love, the piles are being laid as foundation work picks up momentum in Grenada's newest stadium. Trevor Thwaites, Raul Titus, and myself all report from the Grenada heartland when we come back. Welcome back. The Marketing and National Importing Board was established during Grenada's revolutionary era to find markets for local produce. In recent years, there has been growing concerns that this mandate is not being adequately achieved, at least with a measure of consistency. A new policy has been introduced by the Keith Mitchell administration, driving the momentum at MNIB's new direction. At the heart of the policy is the search for new markets for local produce and a pledge to buy everything local farmers have to offer. Trevor Thwaites reports from the heartland that there is a new buzz at the MNIB.
The Marketing and National Importing Board is changing gears, and farmers, a key part in the new thrust, are very much on board. Their representative in the Senate, Keith Clouden, is heartened by the latest developments.
Any initiative to improve the operations of the Marketing and National Importing Board is welcomed by the farmers, on any side at all, regardless of who is in government. But the issue here is how much of the farmers' inputs is being solicited, because it is an institution that has been set up to serve farmers, and therefore it must reflect the needs and aspirations of the farmers.
Over 2,000 farmers have been mobilized in the new operations to supply the MNIB with a high volume of quality products. Procurement Officer Micah Blaze said that the River Road packing house has been bubbling over the past 6 months.
Well, that's the kind of thing that's been happening since October last year. Every day, that kind of sustained momentum. We have a new mandate. Our new mandate is to buy all this produce from the farmers. One, it meets our standard, and we have been doing that. We have quite a bit of satisfied farmers because we've been buying all this stuff. Our responsibility at the marketing board is to market the farmers' produce. So the farmers has a responsibility to produce, and marketing board will find the market. And we have been very successful doing that over the past couple of months.
The new approach is paying dividends, with the MNIB reporting encouraging signs. There has been a significant increase in business, and customers are happy with the service.
Marketing board has a wide assortment of fruits, vegetables at what I consider to be reasonable prices. Also, they are locally grown, right? So that sustains and helps our farmers and so on, or people in the rural areas and so on.
The price is right. Everything is right here. One stop. You get all the produce that you need. Vegetables, fruits, everything.
I have been coming to Grenada for almost 10 years, and every time I come to Grenada, this is the best place to buy vegetables. They've always got what you want. It's the right price. It's fresh. And the people who work here are very nice too.
On its 4 3/4 acres of land in La Sagesse, farmer Clouden produces okras, watermelons, salad peppers, sweet potatoes, sweet corn, cherry tomatoes, and eggplants. He's suggesting the establishment of a National Food Crop Pricing Council to set minimum prices for products.
I made representation in the upper house, in the Senate, and I got a motion passed with respect to the establishment of a National Food Crop Pricing Council that would at least establish minimum prices for agricultural produce and so on. A minimum price, because if you keep exploiting the farmer, in the sense that you underpaying him, you paying him an unjust, unfair price for his goods because they are not involved in production, they do not know the cost of production. And we are better positioned to determine what the cost of our production for our various produce. Now, if you have such an institution, and there again, Marketing and National Importing Board has to play a role in working along with the farmers to ensure that these mechanisms are developed, because it is also in their interest.
Back at the River Road Packing House, Procurement Officer Michael Blaze says that the new thrust will bring more farmers back to the MNIB. He indicates that the mandate is buy all farmers' produce and find markets for them.
Well, that's the kind of thing that's been happening since, I would say, since October last year. Every day, that kind of sustained momentum. We have a new mandate. Our new mandate is to buy all this produce from the farmers. One, it meets our standard, and we have been doing that. We have quite a bit of satisfied farmers because we've been buying all this stuff. Our responsibility at the marketing board is to market the farmers' produce. So the farmer has a responsibility to produce, and marketing board will find a market. And we have been very successful doing that over the past couple of months. Like I say, it's a new dispensation. We are buying everything the farmers produce. So we are not turning back any farmers. All farmers are welcome at the marketing board, and it's our responsibility to make sure that we sell their produce.
A 5-year strategic plan is being implemented by the MNIB to make it more effective and efficient. Pricing, guarantee supply, and other setbacks are being addressed to smooth the way forward. Minister for Economic Development, Oliver Joseph, is directing the operations.
What in this new plan, what you will see happening is that marketing board will contract farmers to supply them with commodities. So up front, they will sign a contract. So marketing board will see the areas, the crops that they need, contract the farmers, give them a guarantee price, so the farmers know when they produce, marketing board will buy all that they produce. On the other hand, marketing board will be responsible for export. They will know the market, the demand, what the market is demanding. For example, now there is a high demand for sauersup. So marketing board encouraging farmers to go into sauersup because it's fetching a very high price. Dasheen is also in demand from Grenada. Mango is in demand. So the crops that are in demand, the farmers will be given direct contract to supply. Because before we had a supply side constraint. The market was demanding things that we could not supply. So we have to address that, and that is what the new choice is about. Getting the market and ensuring that you have adequate supply.
These are the images from across Grenada. This is State of Affairs. More stories from the heartland after this. The loss of our best minds to overseas markets has always been an issue hindering our development in Grenada. Research has shown that most Grenadians with college degrees live in the United States. The one-year-old Keith Mitchell government has announced a fresh approach towards reversing this trend. Join me in this report which captures the issues as Grenada attempts to tackle the brain drain problem. Cherise Noel is a student at the T.A. Marichaud Community College whose dream is to become a lawyer.
Throughout school, being exposed to the different sciences, I realized that I was more inclined to social sciences and I love to speak, so I thought it best to do law.
In Grenada, students tend to select from a very narrow pool of professional career options: medicine, law, or business. Too many qualified persons in some given fields and very little or none in others. Stephen Antwine, principal of the Happy Hill Secondary School, a school known for its varied curriculum, says there is a cultural bias against studying a skill.
In my view, we don't give the students enough information, career guidance, and where exactly they can find job opportunities. There are a number of fields, for example, seafaring, the cruise ships and so on, they request those jobs quite often, but very rare do we get those sorts of professionals to come into schools to talk to our kids and so on. It's easy to grab a lawyer or a doctor or an accountant. So while we do a bit of career guidance and try to let the kids know what the opportunities are and what they would need to get into those areas, I do agree that we have not done sufficient. It's the stigma attached to the field, technical and vocational. We see it as children having lesser academic ability and so on. And quite frankly, those are the more lucrative fields at the end of the day. These practically oriented subjects, there is a cost factor associated with doing these subjects, the home management, the woodwork, where the children have to buy materials to come to do the practicals, and sometimes it's a bit of a challenge, depending on the socioeconomic background of the kids and so on, to actually sit successfully.
Grenada invests highly in education. In fact, in the 2013 budget, education was given one of the largest amounts of money from the Grenada government. In comparison to other Caribbean countries, Grenada arguably has one of the most prepared generations of youngsters. Unfortunately, however, over 80% of our college graduates migrate to larger countries, especially the United States. Over 80% of persons born in Haiti, Jamaica, Grenada, and Guyana who have college degrees live abroad, mostly in the U.S. This a quote from the World Bank in 2006. Grenadian sociologist Claude Douglas outlined a key reason and possibly the source of Grenada's high brain drain levels.
What is it that we really need in Grenada in terms of skill sets and so forth? It's because you don't want to provide people, and because you will just add to the young people's frustration that we have a number of programs but we do not have, you understand me, employment for those areas as much as some other metropolitan country would have, okay, and so forth. So I know that psychology right now is a big thing down at SGU, and everybody now want to be a psychologist and what have you, but how many psychologists do we really need for 100,000 people here? In the event that they would not be able to find jobs, what they will do? They will leave.
A budding research area in Grenada right now, which receives thousands in funding, is environmental science and wildlife conservation. One student who has chosen to venture into this non-traditional field pursuit is Ezra Campbell, a recent graduate in wildlife conservation and biology.
I think because we don't have such a diverse economy here, you find that people tend to study one set of subject areas. For example, if you go down to St. George's University